Goeiedag, welkom. Kwarantynwyn in die tuin, saam met Elaine. For today, once again, we're doing a little trip through to the Hemel-en-Aarde Valley, and this is the Ashbourne Sandstone 2020 that we'll be having today.
And before we get started, I would just really much like to thank Talita for giving us this wine. We had a really lovely trip out there.
Fantastic tasting in the cellar there at Hamilton-Aarde.
We were spoiled. We got like 5-star quality treatment. We sat in the cellar on this beautiful round table, and we got like the full tasting. It was great. Absolutely great.
And at least now that the lockdown levels are lifted and you're allowed to travel, tastings like that are now available again, and people can go and do that. And to be quite honest, Hemel-en-Aarde is from Cape Town 120 kilometers. It's an hour and a half drive, hour 45 with bad traffic, and if you're a speed demon, about an hour. But so it's really not that far. Cool part of the country once again. Now the farm of Ashbourne is located right next to Hamilton-Russell on the eastern side of the property. It was bought by Anthony Hamilton-Russell and named after his great grandfather,
that's right,
Lord
yes.
Ashbourne. And basically they bought the farm because actually of its sandy soils that they have there, and they wanted to make a wine that once again shows a sense of place. They didn't want they wanted to make a wine that shows where it's from rather than making a...
Yes, it's about sites and soil type. That's what it's about.
So it's quite sandy soils, as the name says, sandstone. There's some quartz in there as well, which to me can give you quite a high natural acid. You already get that from the cooler area as well, but you don't have that, almost want to say, richness from the clay-rich soils, which you find more on the Hamilton-Russell property,
right,
which is better suited for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. Now this is a blend of 50% Sauvignon Blanc, and then the other 50% is half and half Semillon and Chardonnay. All of it is estate grown, so grown on the property of Ashbourne. Everything is on sandy soils. And then this wine is completely unwooded, but it is fermented in clay Amphorae. Now, Ashbourne was one of the first, if not the first, winery to completely ferment in Amphorae or clay from start to finish.
And what they say is they want the air exchange.
Yes.
Because through the vessels that they use, the air exchange is what makes this wine.
It gives you that, almost want to say, a little bit more richness, but a bit more developed characteristic.
Mineral, very mineral.
Extremely, but you don't have the spice and the flavor of the oak that changes now. This is far more pure expression of grape and soil from myself. This wine is beautifully dry though. We've been sitting here, but I keep on swallowing because my mouth keeps on watering.
Yes, which is great for food. If you want to pair this with something, you can pair it with something like shellfish.
Or just another glass of wine.
Or that. But yes, it does. It makes your mouth water because of the salinity in it.
It has that salinity that makes you hungry again. Now, all I can think about is oysters. That's all I want.
Oh man, oysters! I think we've mentioned this a few times in our videos. It's just
clearly we like oysters a lot. But also now with this wine is we've had it in the fridge, and as it warms up, actually I'm starting to enjoy it more. When it's cold, it's quite austere. It's quite, almost want to say, piercing with that salinity, the acidity. But once it warms up, it's almost like you get a little bit of that slightly more richness and oiliness from the Semillon and the Chardonnay. And then the Sauvignon Blanc just gives you that straight line that guides you all the way through.
Yes.
Now the winemaker at Hamilton-Russell now is Emul Ross. He took over from Hannes Storm. Hannes Storm, I think, was the first winemaker to make the Ashbourne wines because they only started in 2006. Now they've changed the I don't want to say the idea behind the wine a little bit, but they've changed the way they approach the wine a little bit, because in the beginning the wine was made, there was a little bit of barrel component, there was some Amphorae and so forth. It used to be a lot more Sauvignon Blanc than what it is now, but also they used to bottle age the wine for quite a few years before they released it. Now unfortunately, South African climate most people don't understand older white wines. A lot of people don't drink it, and it's just completely foreign. And they're actually from 2010 was the last vintage. Up until 2018, there was almost a 7-8 year gap before they re-release this wine. And I'm very happy to see this wine re-release, because personally I think white blends are fantastic. They give you great complexity in a wine. It gives you a little bit of both worlds, if you want to say that. So it's not just one single grape variety. It also showcases a winemaker's skill, because really to blend a wine is probably not the easiest thing to do.
No, it's not. And also like the whole winemaking process that goes into it, it's a lot of sort of trial and error to begin with. Actually with this particular wine, they wanted it to be sort of like homage to the region. They wanted it to be about the soil type, about the sandstone soil.
So yeah, if you were to take the Hemel-en-Aarde region, it is most famous on white wine for Chardonnay, and Hamilton Russell is proof of that, and also all the other guys who came after Hamilton Russell. And it's funny, most winemakers who worked at Hamilton Russell ended up staying in the area making Chardonnay properties around the corner, if you want to
they're
call
all
it. They're all
besties, guys.
So, but yeah, if you were to make a white wine that is a blend, same as what you get the blends from the Swartland. The Swartland is more Chenin based and Viognier and Grenache and so forth. But if you were to get a white wine that can be a white blend that showcases the Hemel-en-Aarde Valley, this is probably where you'd go.
Yes.
Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, Chardonnay.
Yes.
Work it all together.
Yes.
So once again, I think from our side, just to wrap it up, thank you very much for the Hamilton Russell family and Talita for hosting us for a wonderful tasting there, the first one after lockdown.
Yes.
Thank you for this wine, and please continue doing so for many years to come.
Absolutely.
Because we will continue drinking them for many years to come.
It genuinely is one of our favorite places. We love it there.
Yeah. So from our side, during the last little bits of lockdown, stay safe, enjoy the wine. Cheers.
Cheers.